Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video from Crumble Takes, and today I want to talk about how this Miami Dolphins team is kind of in a collapse right now, how they collapsed and how they get here, because now they're in that 7th spot after being 8-3 throughout the season. So let's get into it. Like and subscribe, and let's start from the beginning. Alright, so basically this offseason for Miami started. Brian Flores was fired after being the head coach there, and they hired this man right here, Mike McDaniel, which was honestly a good hiring. He was a 49ers old offensive coordinator, and 49ers were doing really good in that offense, so he was hired, and it's looking pretty good for them. As you can see, he helped Tua build his confidence, as you can see, because Tua's having decent games. So the big trade for the Miami Dolphins was they traded for Tyreek Hill. Yeah, they traded first round pick, 2nd round pick, and a 4th round pick, and a 4th and another 6th for that man Tyreek Hill. Now that man Tyreek Hill right now is 2nd in receiving yards. Yeah, big deal for them. They have Tyreek and Waddle, 2 amazing wide receivers for them, and it's going to pay off. Well, but there was one big question going into the offseason this year. One big question that had to get solved. And the question was surrounding Tua. I've always believed in Tua. I liked Tua as soon as he came into the league. I really liked him. I thought if they put the pieces around him, he can go out there and ball, which that kind of happened with Tua. After last year's kind of mid-year he kind of had, they were wondering, is Tua really their answer for them? That was the big question for them, and this is how it started for the Dolphins this year. Dolphins this year went 3-0. One good win versus the Pats, a comeback win versus the Ravens, and a good win versus the Bills, in my opinion. They looked pretty nice. I'm going to show some highlights from some of them games, but honestly, the team looked pretty nice starting 3-0. They looked like a dang near... The offense was just amazing. Like, I'm going to start to pull out some clips now. Like, just look at these highlights from the Dolphins. Like, look at Tua throwing it out to his new weapon, Tyreek Hill, right there. Like, that is just some amazing stuff. And then the next play, he's gonna throw, look at this, 4th and 7, he's gonna throw a touchdown to Jalen Waddle. I know I just kind of spoiled it, but it's okay. Look at that. Because another thing is, these 2 receivers that they drafted have lots of speed on them. Lots of speed. They are very speedy. As you can see, they tore up my Ravens secondary. My Ravens secondary was torn up this whole game. Yes, I was very upset about it. But yes, Waddle and Hill as a duo are probably top 5 best wide receiver duo in the league. They're most definitely the fastest, and they are a really good duo. I'm gonna keep showing a little bit of these highlights for y'all, so y'all can just understand, if y'all haven't seen, how good. There's a tight end Gasecki right there. He's a good weapon, but they don't use them as much as I think they should. Just wonderful plays from this Dolphins offense the first 3 games. Look at 3rd and 10, guys. Hill just annihilated the Ravens. Very upsetting. Anyways, one big thing with this Bills game is Tua suffered a concussion going into halftime, and he went back into the game. Yeah, back into the game after he showed signs that he had a concussion. He went back into the game, played the rest of the game. Now, a lot of people thought, well, he went back in, he was fine. Well, that was not the case, apparently. Dolphins played on Thursday versus the Bengals that week, and I'm not gonna show y'all what happened, but I'm gonna show y'all close to what happened and what happened to these Tua guy. Tua suffered a concussion again that Thursday. It was pretty bad, a terrible sight to see for this quarterback. And he was out for a hot minute too after this sad concussion happened. Actually, he was out for, including this game, he was out for 2 more games. Yeah. And them games, the Dolphins lost all of them. They lost the game to the Bengals. They lost the game next week to the Vikings, and then let the Jets put up 40 on them. Yeah, it was pretty bad. Then Tua came back And the magic looked like it was happening again with this team. So the Dolphins went on this huge streak. They beat the Steelers, Lions, Bears, Browns, Texans. Went on this huge streak with their bye week in there too. Huge streak of just beating up on teams, putting up almost dang near 40 half of these games. Well, actually, they probably average around 30 points because they pretty much put up 30 all these games except that Steelers game. And here are some of the highlights. They were balling again when Tua came back from injury. They were struggling. They had Bridgewater when Tua was out. Then they had Skyler. It was just a whole huge mess for the Steelers. I mean, for the Dolphins. And then, yeah, look at them. They looked like they were all back normal. And they were balling again. So I was like, when I was in this moment watching the NFL, I was like, okay, I think the Dolphins could be legit contenders this year. I know that defense is looking rough, which they did trade for Bradley Chubb at the trade deadline. But I was like, this team's looking kind of nice, even though that defense is kind of not good. But I'm like, if their offense is this good, I mean, hey, you probably got a shot. But things started to go wrong very, very quickly for some odd reason after these games. As I'm going to let some of these highlights play out. We'll get touchdown to Waddle. Waddle and Tyreek, if you had them in fantasy at this time, you were probably loving it. But then this happened to the Dolphins. They lost to the 49ers. They lost to the Chargers. They lost to the Bills. And this past weekend, they just lost to the Packers. Lost these 4 huge games in a row. At that point, before that 49ers game, they were 8-3. We were talking about Miami has a chance to win the division, maybe get the 1 seed if they were lucky. Yeah, and then this big 4-game losing streak happened. Tua didn't play good in the 49ers and Chargers game, I will admit. Especially that Chargers game. But he did play better in that Bills and Packer game, I will admit, though. But that Packer game, though, had one big issue with him playing the way he played in it. And you will see. I'm going to actually tell you what happened. Tua threw 3 interceptions versus the Packers after they had a lead, too. 3 interceptions in the second half, Dolphins lost the game. That wasn't good. Now it's giving the Packers playoff hopes. Yeah, this was a big game that they need to win that they lost. Now currently they're in the 7th wildcard spot with 2 big games coming up versus the Patriots and the Jets. And also, Tua suffered a 3rd concussion versus the Packers, so he's not going to be able to play. Bridgewater has to beat the Patriots, and he's probably going to have to beat the Jets. This is looking really interesting for the Dolphins, I will not lie. I personally think they still have a chance to make the playoffs. Just if Bridgewater just has to play a little bit well, and I feel like they have a chance to beat the Patriots, because I really feel like the Patriots aren't that good, even though I did pick the Patriots to win this game. And I feel like they have a chance to beat the Jets, but I don't feel like it's a high chance. They're going to need some help. They're going to need the Seahawks, I think, to win. Because if they win and the Seahawks win, then the Miami clinches 7th seed, and that's the end of the story. So if they can beat the Pats and they can have the Seahawks win, I think they're good. Now, one question is, a lot of people are asking, what is going to happen with Tua? If he gets shut down or not? I think they might have to shut him down just because of the concussion problem. But I do believe Tua Tagovailoa is the answer at quarterback in Miami. Unlike what some people think, I believe Tua is the answer, and he's that guy for them. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching this video on the Miami Dolphins. I'll hit you back next week with a new upload talking about a new team, and we'll see where we're at. Next weekend is the last week of the regular season. We'll see where we're at. Have a nice day.